So when I read about mental models, I found it very interesting because I think everyone can relate, right? That habit that you have that you can't break, but it takes but if you do it a number of times, you might be able to break it. So mental models play in the area that um, as you have these experiences, your synapses form in your brain, and over time, those synapses just continue to form and continue to form. This creates these quote unquote habits, these perspectives, this automatic thinking that, and that's where deliberative thinking, I feel, comes in the sense that you can change your synapses in your brain if you are more deliberative about it, just like when you're changing a habit. So I wanted Agnieszka to maybe if you have any research or any sort of perspective on the brain and synapses and how that works.
Okay, so that's quite a complex question, but it can be very, I think it could nicely link to the previous topic. So to add to all that was said, we sometimes, for example, from my research, I can see that many times our preference it can be misleading and lead us to unhealthy situations and mental models as well. And the research and science is trying to help. It's probably the one tool to help us identify the more beneficial models and those that we should try to eliminate, right? So from my research on the visual stimuli and the design of the city, I can see that the preference that people report can be misleading to predict the actual benefits of this exposure. So, for example, people may not like some certain environmental exposure or think it is not attractive or maybe boring, but at the same time it triggers a beneficial pattern in their brains that beneficial for their like mental restoration and reduction of stress. So so yeah, I would like to point out that what goes through all these layers and filters of our consciousness and then social models and what can be reported to the outside world, sometimes it's not actually beneficial to us and not healthy, because I'm mostly around the issue of health and well-being. So that's one important thing. That's why I'm very cautious about the studies that only or design that only base and builds on the preference of people. So I'm trying to kind of get deeper to the brains to see if something may not be preferred, but is actually good for people. And here I often use the example of a candy. Candy for many people is also nice and like preferred food, but maybe not healthiest. Also, in terms of building cities and city design, linking to the TED Talk, there's been already in 70s the pathway, the bi-directional pathway described about that our brain and behavior, through our brain and behavior, humans are creating their environment. And then this environment is sending back all the stimuli to us that influence our brain and behavior. So it is like a loop that is evolving to something, and nobody actually knows what is the final point. Like what's are we building our environment to actually deteriorate our health or to improve it? So we can see that our urban spaces are not the best for us, yet it was organically created by us, from our behaviors and models that we have. So it is a very interesting thing, and with the research and with neuroscience, we can discover more about these things. However, this research in this area, it's in its infancy.